Meanwhile, how about the NBA? Game of the night last night, Lakers, Heat. Andre Drummond back in action against the Heat after a 3-game absence. Early on, showing no ill effects. Look at the bully ball. He would fill up the stat sheet. In the first quarter, he had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Just over 7 minutes in the third now. Heat up 2. Oh, there's Victor Oladipo with the hammer slam over Drummond. Miami up 3. After 3, on to the fourth. It's Adebayo to Oladipo. He would finish with 18 points and 3 steals, but he comes up a little gimpy. He wouldn't return. Under 5 minutes to go. Heat up by 3. Jimmy Butler, top of the key. Yes, the Heat lead is 5. Just over a minute left. Miami up 7. Butler, bam, yes. Butler finishes with 28.7 boards. Miami wins at 110-104. The Lakers continue to slide without their stars. They're now 5th in the West, 7 games out of the 1 seed. What's more, the 7th-placed Mavericks are just 2.5 games back. Falling to 7, of course, is a huge deal. 7th-place team winds up in the postseason play-in tournament.
Won for San Francisco because they have a chance at the Super Bowl this year. But I think Justin Fields is the one, even without his athleticism, if you just took him as a standalone pocket passer and his efficiency and his completion percentage and what he's able to do week in and week out, he's a winner. He's been at a program that competes at a high level year in and year out, always in the championships, always in the big games, and he's played well.
So there's a lot to consider here with all of this. And again, Dan Graziano, Rob Ninkovich, Matt Miller with us here. And Dan, let me start with you because we keep associating Jimmy Garoppolo with the Patriots. We keep talking about what San Francisco is going to do. Those things all seem to be tied together. Where does Fields fit into all of it now as he prepares for what is his second pro day?
I think, you mentioned Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch will plan to go and see him in person, which they didn't the first time around. They went to Mac Jones's pro day at Alabama instead. It was on the same day. But they knew Fields was going to do another workout, and they planned to see him all along. There's a strong feeling around the league that Mac Jones is the 49ers guy at number 3, but I don't think it's 100% a done deal yet, and I think it remains possible that they end up changing course and landing on either Trey Lance or Justin Fields with that pick. So 20 days. Still time to discuss it, still time to potentially change their minds if they do feel like they're set on Mac Jones. And Fields will get an opportunity next week to see if he can force his way into a higher level of that discussion.
Nico, we haven't had a chance to talk with you about it this week. And the real question is this. When you're drafting as high in the draft as some of the teams we're talking about here, let's use the 49ers, for example, who not only are drafting 3rd, but traded so much away to get there, 3 1s and a 3. Everyone by now knows how they got to where they are. Do you think that the idea that you're taking a quarterback possibly, does that quarterback need to check every box the way a guy like Fields does, add that level of dynamic athleticism? How do you see it as a former NFL linebacker?
If you're picking 3, you better pick somebody that's going to be a franchise player, especially if he's a quarterback. He's got to check all the boxes. And you're looking to replace your starting quarterback that you paid a lot of money to, and they already put it out there that they want to pick a quarterback, and they moved up to go and get a quarterback. So, look, if you're Jimmy G, you're like, hey, if you're going to get rid of me, get rid of me. Because if you want me to stick around here and help the young guy and mentor the young guy to take my job, no. Like, you paid me to be the starting quarterback. I want to be a starting quarterback, and I want a team and ownership that wants me to be the starting quarterback, not just for 1 year, but for more years to come. So, look, if you're the 49ers and you're going to draft a quarterback, you better check all the boxes for you.
Well, so that then sort of takes us to an interesting place, because I've been saying for a while on my radio show here, Matt Miller, that the way that San Francisco could do this is what we now would describe as the Mahomes model, which is you have the starter in place. In this case, it's Jimmy G, as a.smith was in Kansas City. You draft a young quarterback who looks like he has superstar potential but might not be ready to play immediately, and you develop him. Now, that's not what Mac Jones projects to be. So how do you see this right now playing out with Fields having a second pro day and the Niners sitting there at number 3?
Yeah, I think that is the ideal method. Everyone would love the Mahomes plan to get someone into the starting lineup. But I think with the 49ers, they have at least come out and said Jimmy's our quarterback for 2021. Whether that's just a diversion to try to drum up trade interest or not, we'll see. But I don't think there's anything Justin Fields can necessarily do at a second pro day that he hasn't shown already. I mean, 2 years of starting in the Big Ten where he never lost a game. We already saw the first pro day where he ran a 4.4, and we know how good he is. So, yes, we're all prone to bias and what we saw most recently. Maybe John Lynch and, more importantly, Kyle Shanahan could go to Columbus, Ohio, fall in love with what they're seeing from Justin Fields. I think more than anything, they're just checking the boxes at this point. Also, Sean Wade, the corner from Ohio State, will be working out that day as well. Maybe they want to take a look at him. I mean, right now, I think we're looking as fans, as analysts, everyone wants to believe that the 49ers won't draft Mac Jones. We're looking for reasons to say, oh, well, maybe they'll go fall in love with Justin Fields, or maybe Trey Lance will have another workout. I think it just, the Mac Jones pick goes against a lot of logic and a lot of rankings. So we're all looking for maybe Justin Fields can do something to get back up to where we all believe he should be drafted.
The other piece of it is that Mac Jones feels like if you draft him, he's ready to go week one, which would suggest, Dan Garziano, that the possibility of trading Jimmy Garoppolo then comes back into the conversation. Is it oversimplifying it to say if Jimmy G gets traded, they're taking Mac Jones? And if he doesn't get traded, they might be taking somebody else? That's the way I keep looking at it. Does it make sense to you?
It's probably oversimplifying, but I think the way to look at it is whenever it is that the Niners decide that their rookie draft pick is ready to play and help them win games, not just play and take his lumps, but help them win games, that's when Jimmy Garoppolo becomes available. So if that's the day after the first round, or if it's in training camp, or if it's in October, that's it. But it's not overstating this to say that this is it for Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch as leadership of the 49ers. This pick will determine whether they are successful in these roles or not going forward. It's that significant.
Yeah, I mean, they traded so much to go up and get him for a team that is thinking Super Bowl thoughts. Guys, stay close. We have much more football to go. But the controversy of the day came from Major League Baseball, Mets, Marlins. It was the Mets home opener at Citi Field, and the drama was late. Bottom nine, Mets down 2-1. Jeff McNeil. Oh, look at the bat flip on his birthday. That's his first home run and his first hit of the season. Ties the game at 2. Oh, look at the celebration. But that's not the controversial part. Here we go. Later in the inning, bases loaded, 1 out. Michael Conforto facing Anthony Bass. And that's the end of the game. I'm kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding. That is the end of the game. Home plate umpire Ron Kulpa says the pitch hit him in the elbow. The run scores, and that's it. Keith Hernandez didn't like it.
Look at that. Oh, you can't do that.
No,
They have totally got a case.
They got to bring
here.
it back.
Totally have a case.
They're going to. It's absolute.
To make it 100% clear, that's the Mets broadcasting crew saying that the run should not have scored, but after replay it still does, and the Mets win.
From my point of view, it was a slider. Felt like it was coming back to me, and I just, I turned. There may have been a little lift to my elbow, just out of habit, out of reaction.
It's just frustrating, I think, more than anything, that the ball's a strike. And he went to call it a strike. And it seems like if it's in the strike zone and you get hit, it should be a strike. And you really can't say he got hit by a pitch. He knows it was a strike.
Yeah, I mean, Don Mattingly is right. The umpire knows it was a strike. The home plate Ron Kulpa said after the game the guy was hit by a pitch in the strike zone. I should have called him out. Here was Buster Olney with us earlier this morning on Get Up.
They wish there was some mechanism where common sense could take effect. And look, maybe there is. In the rule book, there's this great rule, 801C, which effectively allows umpires to step in and deal with situations that are unprecedented. And the unprecedented part of this is Ron Kulpa, as Don Mattingly said, was moving to call this a strike. He indicated it was a strike. Then he indicated that he was hit by the pitch. At that point, you wish there was some way in the replay center that they could say, you know what, we're going to take another look at this, and we're going to make sure that we're going to get the call right.
Well, here's the official wording of the hit-by-pitch replay rule. Calls involving whether a pitched ball may have hit a player, a piece of his clothing, or his bat, whether the ball was in the strike zone when it touched the batter, and whether the batter made any attempt to avoid it, is not reviewable. Thus, the score held. The Mets won the game 3-2. Crazy day. Meanwhile, how about the NBA? Game of the night last night. Lakers, Heat. Andre Drummond back in action against the Heat after a 3-game absence. Early on, showing no ill effects. Look at the bully ball. He would fill up the stat sheet. In the first quarter, he had 6 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists. Just over 7 minutes in the third now. Heat up 2. Oh, there's Victor Oladipo with the hammer slam over Drummond. Miami up 3. After 3, on to the fourth. It's Adebayo to Oladipo. He would finish with 18 points and 3 steals, but he comes up a little gimpy. He wouldn't return. Under 5 minutes to go. Heat up by 3. Jimmy Butler, top of the key. Yes, the Heat lead is 5. Just over a minute left. Miami up 7. Butler, bam. Yes. Butler finishes with 28.7 boards. Miami wins at 110-104. The Lakers continue to slide. Without their stars, they're now 5th in the West, 7 games out of the 1 seed. What's more, the 7th-placed Mavericks are just 2.5 games back. Falling to 7, of course, is a huge deal. 7th-place team winds up in the postseason play-in tournament. All right, we're just getting this hour rolling as we continue. The Patriots still looking for their franchise quarterback. Will it be Cam? Will it be Jimmy G? Are there other answers out there for them? We're talking about it. Plus, how much are the Packers willing to wager on Aaron Rodgers in the future at quarterback? That's on the way. This is Get Up, and today we're on ESPN 2.